We're not in the office anymore, Bradley.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Shane. Thankfully, I'm not Bradley.
Today, we are talking about the new Sam Raimi movie that comes out today. We got the chance to see Send Help a little early. And so we were able to record this and talk about it. So you guys get to hear our full thoughts day of release.
Yeah, this is super exciting. We were able to see it in early access screening. It was just a public early access screening. Not that big of a deal, but anyway, it makes it good for the podcast. It can come out right when the movie comes out. So we're going to talk about the movie without any spoilers because the movie is just coming out. We'll give our thoughts, our reviews, and then at the end we'll have a little bit of spoiler talk because there is some crazy shit goes down. So we should probably there's plenty to discuss. So we'll do that at the end. We'll give fair warning. But I think we both really enjoyed the movie, so we would definitely recommend go out there and see it because if Sam Raimi going back to his roots sounds like a fun, exciting time at the movies for you, this will quench your thirst for that type of a movie. I don't know.
Yeah. Sam
Anyway,
Raimi is definitely back here. Like this is
yeah.
we've got some exciting stuff. So
But yeah,
um
so basically, Send Help stars Rachel McAdams as Linda Little. She's works at an office. She's a little bit of an outcast. She's overlooked by her douchebag, misogynistic boss, who's like the son of the founder of the company. Uh, so she, I mean, I think we can say that she goes. They're on a flight to Bangkok for some business meeting, and she gets invited kind of out of pity, and the plane goes down, and there's a castaway type situation. I think that's the basic premise we can say without any spoilers. That's the basic premise of the movie. That's the first within the first like 20 minutes. So yeah, that's the idea. And I thought this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was kind of hard to know what to expect going in. I mean, is it going to be like how horror will it be? How like drama will it be and all this stuff, right? But it really delivered on a lot of aspects. And again, I didn't really know what to expect, but I was very happy with that at the end.
Yeah, I was very happy. This felt very much. I mean, Sam Raimi's been pretty inactive like recently. He since Drag Me to Hell, which was 2009. He's only made Oz the Great and Powerful, which I have not seen. I think I've seen clips of it like on TV, like because I feel like that's a movie that would be on like TNT all the time, and you'd be like, oh, I guess this is a movie. And it didn't really feel like it had that Sam Raimi touch. It kind of just felt like a big budget could have been directed by anyone kind of a thing. But I haven't seen the whole thing, so maybe I'm talking out of school. And then he had some time off and then made Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, which I also didn't see because if there's multiverse in your title, I'm not going to watch your movie. Um, so so he really hasn't made like a horror movie since 2009, and even before then, he was doing all the Spider-Man movies. So it's really, this really feels like this is kind of his 80s Evil Dead type of style of over the top horror and comedy and like bold filmmaking. So I just had a really great time with this one.
Yeah, I agree. It is funny. It's fun to see him come back because it really has been a while. I saw Doctor Strange. I didn't see Oz. I didn't even see. Have you seen Drag Me to Hell? I haven't seen
I
it.
have I've seen it years ago, and I remember not really liking it very much, but it could be I might need to rewatch that one.
Yeah, but love the Evil Dead stuff, right? So it's
Yeah.
exciting to see, kind of a return to form. And again, going in, it's like it's hard to know what to expect because it's been so long, right? I mean, uh, almost coming out of retirement, right? Like not really, but it kind of feels like that, and certainly for horror at least. And um, yeah, it was. I mean, there's some really awesome sequences that remind
Yeah.
you who's making the movie, right?
Yes. And even just early on, when they're in the office before at the very beginning of the movie, there are these moments where Linda is eating a tuna fish sandwich, and we'll zoom in extreme close up on the tuna fish that's on the side of her mouth, and like zoom in extreme close ups on people's eyes staring at it, and it's just that type of like in your face bold filmmaking that I associate with Sam Raimi. And it's very funny also. Like this movie, it is thrilling and like horrifying and disgusting often. Like there's a lot of uh blood and fluids that are spewed all over the place. But uh but also it's really hilarious. And even some of the action sort of scary sequences are funny in some ways, or at least maybe I'm a little bit sick in the head, but I was having a good time during at least one of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of comedy, also a lot of like tension, like a surprising amount of like not quite mystery, I guess, but definitely like tension and like some questioning of like, oh, what's really going on at certain
Yeah.
times, and the payoffs for that I think work really well for the most part. So
Yeah, for sure. And you're kind of wondering, I mean, can we say who it is on the island? I think we can say that, right?
yeah, sure.
Which
Yeah,
it's
there's
it's it's basically Linda and her boss Bradley. That's that's why she says whatever, we're not in the office anymore, Bradley, or whatever that opening quote was. Um, but yeah, so it's Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They're pretty much stranded, just the two of them on this island. So it's like a castaway with two people. But there's a lot of like psychological they're kind of playing games with each other, power games, and not games, but they're not being 100% truthful with each other, and so you're kind of always questioning the motivations of each character, and I found that like really effective throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and there is, I mean, definitely that power struggle of like, he's this like totally, like you said, like misogynistic and like doesn't appreciate her in the office and stuff, and he even still thinks he's like the boss at the beginning and everything,
Oh
and
yeah,
on
there's
the
Nightmare
island.
Boss, Nightmare.
Yeah, yeah, and and that, and then she obviously
Well,
uh is able to kind of uh take some of that control on the island, and there is like that back and forth, and it provide, and there's like little moments where you get snippets of them doing something that's clearly, the other person doesn't know about it, or sometimes we don't even know fully what's going on,
yeah.
and that builds up quite a lot, which is intense.
Yes. Yeah, I think that they hide information from the audience like pretty intelligently, and it never feels like manipulative or anything like that. It just kind of adds to the mystery of is this a genuine moment? Is this like manipulation? Like what is really going on here? And I think both performances are really, really great.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. Dylan O'Brien, I'd seen, I want to say he might have been in the TV show The 100.
The 100, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't,
Um
what is that? I don't know what that.
it's some CW TV show about a bunch of
Mhm.
kids in space that come down to Earth because Earth had
Oh,
been like decimated. I think he was in
are,
that.
are they aliens?
No, they're humans, but they had to like,
Oh,
yeah, kind of off topic, but a long time ago, humans had to evacuate Earth because it was like nuclear wasteland or whatever.
right.
And now there's no more supplies on the spaceship, so they send 100 people down, but they're all like child prisoners that, they committed a crime, and so they're in prison on the
Oh,
on the ark. So they're like, well, who's better to test us on than just sending all these kids down to Earth? Um,
interesting. Okay, I
and
didn't know that.
I want to say he was in that, although I don't know, maybe he wasn't, but
I have no idea. I recognized him, but I haven't really seen anything that he's in. I just know that I haven't seen the Maze Runner movies, but I know he's in them.
yeah,
And then he was recently in Saturday Night. And also he was in Twinless and Caddo Lake.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's been in some stuff recently, but this is really, I think this is my first time actually seeing him. I haven't seen any of those movies.
I'm looking now, and I actually don't see him in the 100. So that
Oh,
advertisement I just made for the 100, maybe not as relevant. Um,
well, there you go. Maybe it's just someone who looks like him.
yeah, I guess
But
so.
he's very good here. He has to play a lot of different emotions and Like, yeah, I think he does a very effective job playing this character. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
he does great.
There's one moment specifically where like his he just has this like blank, like almost paralyzed expression.
Yeah,
And yeah, and like oh my, like
that was an insane scene. We won't get into it but yes, this movie goes like off multiple deep ends. You go off a deep end, and then it turns out there's another deep end within the pool.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's a pretty crazy movie. I thought it was great, and yeah, you're right. Dylan O'Brien does great in a lot of those scenes.
Yeah, I mean it's insane because he does stuff like that, but then he also does stuff at the beginning where he's like, uh, uh you know, uh, playing golf in the office and like
Mhm.
harassing a potential
Yeah,
employee or whatever, right? And stuff, and someone
yeah.
that's applying for a job or something, right? And like just playing bro with like the office bros or whatever, and the the range that he has in this movie is pretty impressive. And same for Rachel McAdams. I mean, she has like this like kind of reserved, not reserved actually, but kind of visually maybe reserved character. But
She's kind of like a wallflower, an outcast. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
and but then there's like moments of her being kind of a total psycho, like
yeah.
and
Both characters go like insane on this island, basically. Yeah,
yeah,
she goes it goes in a lot of crazy directions. She does a great job.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I thought that character was really great too. Like just at the beginning, them showing her she lives alone with her bird, and she loves Survivor, which is
right.
I didn't really put it together. Maybe this is me not being the smartest, but it is smart that she watches Survivor. She tried to go on Survivor. She had like an audition tape to go on Survivor, which is like just funny and makes sense for her character that she's like, oh, I sit home and watch 50 seasons of Survivor with my bird. But also uh it gives her a lot of skills that are useful on this island and give her an advantage over Dylan, who one time she remarks on his soft like baby like hands, which is very funny.
Yeah, and it allows that like flipping of the uh like power dynamic while they're on the island,
Yeah.
and it's also just played off really well where um I feel like it's believable the entire way of like the reactions that particularly Dylan O'Brien's character has at moments where he's like there's a lot of moments where he just doesn't want to accept that he's not in control, right? And I think he plays that really well, and it's written really well in those moments, and that whole I mean this is all really uh consolidated in like the first like act, I guess, of the movie where it's all this build up. And obviously not giving any spoilers, but it does get insane. This movie, uh,
Yeah.
third act of this movie is a wild ride that has
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on,
Even
lots of twists and turns and things that you probably would not have expected and stuff. So
yeah. Yes. And the third act does get crazy, but it doesn't feel like it's sort of treading water until the third act. I feel like really the whole movie, it's really well paced and it's pretty exciting all the way throughout. Like there, even the stuff at the beginning in the office is interesting. And like I said, there are like bold filmmaking choices that keep things interesting and you're learning about the characters. And then the crash, them surviving, like I was just enjoying all of that, and there are still it's very twisty turny kind of in some ways. Like there's always some crazy shit's about to happen like at any moment. And even in the second act there are some uh wild over the top sequences as well. So at least one.
yeah.
So yeah, I found it all very enjoyable. And we mentioned Dylan O'Brien being very good, but did we say that Rachel McAdams is like great in this movie? She like carries it on her back. She's so great as being this character. To have the range in her career to play like Regina George 20 years ago, and then now to play Linda Little, who are like Regina George would have just bullied the heck out of Linda Little in like high school, but she plays this character so well, and uh, you have I don't know, there's a lot of depth to the performance. So obviously, we could probably talk more about themes and specifics with the characters, like into the spoiler section. But yeah, Rachel McAdams is great. She's definitely a standout. I mean, it's really a two-hander. It's really the two of them for the vast majority of the movie. So yeah, they're both great.
Yeah. And also, in terms of it being really just the two of them, there is also this like the island almost has its own not quite character, but like you can feel the production design of the island and you know, in the credits you can see that they had um a Thailand and an Australian unit. So I don't know exactly how much like where they were really at and stuff, but
Mm.
um
If
just the
I
island looked really nice and they were able to do cool stuff with it.
Yeah, it did. And there's also a shot when they wash up on the island, basically. At one point, we zoom out and we see the entire island, and it gives you a real good sense of the layout of everything. So and things that come into play later. So I feel like that's a really smart way to do that, where it all makes sense. If I had to guess, they probably shot on some island in Thailand or whatever off the coast of Thailand. Um, and maybe the stuff at the beginning was shot
Mm,
in Australia, just in a studio, because pretty
that makes
much
sense.
all of it is like her apartment or the office. I don't even think there's really an exterior of anything in that whole sequence.
Yeah, you're probably
Aside,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they're at the airport and they're going onto like a private jet, so they're just at an air field, could be anywhere.
Right. Yeah, it's literally not
So
even an airport. They're just in a tarmac, on the tarmac or whatever, or
yeah,
something.
exactly.
Yeah, you have like no clues of what's going on, which is also interesting because it really is just a stand-in for like, you know, this like douchebag boss is like, you know, could be anywhere. Could like there's no specific company, no specific place. It's just
Yeah,
this type of person definitely is in workplaces and has too much power and thinks they're all that.
yeah, for sure, 100%.
Um,
Also wanted to give a shout out to Bill Pope, the cinematographer, because I think the movie looks great. I will say some of the, which this doesn't have to do with Bill Pope really, but the CGI, just as
mm,
far as the visuals of the movie, occasionally there is some like questionable CGI, but I think the look of the movie overall is really great. I mean, and like I said, there's a lot of inventive use of the camera. And Bill Pope is like, he shot The Matrix, he shot Scott Pilgrim, and a bunch of stuff with Sam Raimi, the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2 and 3, I think. So yeah, shout out to Bill Pope, great cinematographer. And this is another one with some bold cinematography, I think, which I appreciate.
yeah. And then again, like just in terms of everything looking so nice, like and well, like in terms of the island, like I think the production design, I guess is where I'm getting at, like also
Yes.
deserves a lot here because like they make these little structures and they have like there's one small little detail where they have like these little like water bottles and they're almost like
Yeah.
little like you can imagine people just walking around the office today with their little wallas or whatever, right? And it's like they just
And it's
have,
like
but
made
they've
out of
made it
like a
out of
bamboo.
bamboo, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all these little things and just the way that everything feels pretty authentic to being from an island and from this pretty isolated place and how they're able to build cool structures uh, and again there's like moments where um well there's just moments where the island itself there's like different places on the island they go to and they all kind of feel like they add some diversity so you're not just on a beach the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There is good diversity in that. And I really enjoyed in the middle sections, like when they are surviving all of the like process oriented details of everything, like how she's building this structure, how she's tying this together. Like there I just found that enjoyable. And yeah, like you
Yeah,
said, it is very believable. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's not super realistic, but it all felt very realistic to me, that it's like if someone had the knowledge to do this, and like I could see someone doing what they do on the island, basically.
yeah, exactly, like none of it feels like it just magically came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I I mean, I also have a lot to say about later on in the
I
movie, but
know.
I
That's the
feel
thing. I mean, most of the rest of my notes have
yeah,
a spoiler elements going on, but yeah, I just found it to be like a really fun time. Balances it's not super comedic, but some there are moments that are so over the top that it is hilarious. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, sometimes it's hilarious. And I just think it's a very fun thrill ride at the movies. And like for a January release, like this is like very high quality because I feel like January has had some very high quality movies coming out this year as opposed to traditionally for the past whatever, at least 10, 20 years. Usually January and February, they kind of dump the stuff that didn't work out so well. The like the mercies of the world, stuff that stuff that takes place on or like whatever. Paranormal Activity 8 will come out in January probably. But yeah, so it's a really high quality movie. Would definitely recommend. I think it's worth seeing in a theater. It'll be fun to watch with an audience. People will be laughing or cringing or having reactions to the movie for sure. Uh, so I think this is worth seeing in a theater. It's if you're super queasy, maybe stay away, but you should probably know that about Sam Raimi anyway. A Sam Raimi horror movie is going to have some blood and guts and goo and
Right.
liquids and bodily fluids and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're not watching Doctor Strange again. This is
Yeah.
not a Spider-Man movie this time. So, um,
Spider-Man 3 has Venom, a lot of goo.
a lot of goo. Yeah, different type of goo, but
Different type of goo. There's no spoiler alert, there's no Venom goo in Send Help.
yeah,
And
that's right.
there's no Venom post-credit scene, sadly enough. Imagine.
Yeah,
She imagine they land on the island, one of them gets turned into Venom, and then
yeah.
that's
The
what the
ending
movie
is
does.
just after the post-credit scene. There's a Venom will return in
Yeah. In Send Help 2, Venom.
Endgame.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
uh, yeah. So I don't know. Should we give our ratings and then move into doing some spoilers and
Sure. Yeah,
cool.
I'm down for that. I don't think we're gonna have a rating recap because there's not really stuff available right now, right?
Yeah, whatever is out there is so it's only people that have seen the early access or seen it some other way so far. So it doesn't really make sense to do a rating recap, but we can certainly tell you what we thought. And I'll start. I gave it 3.5, but a really high 3.5, and a like. I definitely want to rewatch this. I feel like this it was just a lot of fun. I feel like there's just a lot of really cool stuff going on, and a second watch for me could be really awesome. So I might, once it's fully out, I might even see it again. So we'll see. But
Nice. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Again, found it to be super fun. I think it sticks the landing. Uh, I without getting into any spoilers, it's enjoyable all the way throughout, and I found the third act very fun and thrilling, and uh, did not go off the rails at all. I thought it stuck the landing, so I very much enjoyed it. Solid 4 star movie, which I'll tell you, January 4 star movie. It can be hard to find usually, so I think this one's worth going out to the theaters and check out. I think this one will be a pretty wide release, so it should be easy enough for people to find in their theaters if they're not snowed in at this point. Um, that might be the only factor. I will say I looked it up currently on we're recording this on Monday. Uh Currently on Rotten Tomatoes with 44 reviews, uh critic reviews, this is the critic percentage. It's 93%.
wow,
So
that
very strong opening reviews for Send Help. And I think it deserves it. I
yeah.
found it very enjoyable. Again, really just people who are super queasy about any blood. That might be the main people who would not enjoy this movie at all.
Yeah, yeah. Once the blood starts, you get a lot of it. So,
Oh yeah.
buckle up or bring those sleeping eye things so you can just put it over your face when you don't want to watch.
You mean do you not have eyelids? You can just close your eyes. You don't have to bring a secondary apparatus. We have eyelids.
uh,
You
yeah,
could
okay, you
turn
could do
your
that.
head. You could look down, look up.
Yeah, that's fine. You could do those too. Yeah, so
Cool.
that's it. So go watch
Yes.
Send Help, and once you do, pause this and come back. Once you've finished watching, you're welcome to join us for hearing what we think about, particularly into like the second and third acts when stuff
Yeah.
that spoils stuff we don't want to spoil for you if you haven't seen it yet. So
Yes. So get out of here, scram. Unless you've seen the movie, then stick around. But yeah, this one is nuts. Where do we want to start with the spoilers? I mean, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot to talk about.
Well, we can start when the blood starts, which is pretty much the
Yeah.
gore, right?
Well, I
Um,
mean, also the plane crash.
oh yeah, that's right.
The plane crash, that was one of the, I was cackling. I mean, they established this guy, Donovan. What a prick. What a
Mm,
prick Donovan is. And to see him go flying out the plane, I laughed. And
yeah,
then that's the thing with this movie. It's like some crazy shit happens, and then Sam Raimi's like, I got more for you. We're
yeah,
not done yet. And then he's hanging, his tie gets caught, and he's hanging off the side of the plane, hitting the window right next to her. Oh my gosh. Hilarious. Hilarious. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I was absolutely having a great time watching these guys. I feel like they did a good job making these characters reprehensible enough that you could kind of laugh and have a good time watching them get their comeuppance.
yeah. You know pretty much once they've established those characters that anyone else, like those two characters on that plane, are not making it. You
Three
know, like
characters.
yeah, but one of them. Oh wait.
There's three of them. One of them, there's
Oh
there's
yeah, you're right.
there's Linda and whatever Bradley, and then there's three other guys. There's Donovan, and then there's two other just random guys. But I think
Yeah,
one of them flies out pretty quickly, so then it ends up being like. Also, they establish at the very beginning when Donovan like takes credit for her work, you're immediately like, all right, fuck this guy. Like whatever
yeah.
happens to this guy, he deserves it. What a scumbag. And then when he's hanging on for his life, and he's like kicking off his supposed friend that is holding onto his leg. He's trying to kick him off so that he doesn't pull him down. Like clearly, these people have no sense of honor or morals or anything. Like just to reestablish, like this guy's a complete scumbag. You can laugh when he's hanging off the side of the plane, uh, having the most horrific death you could ever imagine.
Well, and he's like telling
Yes.
Linda to give him her
Oh
seat. He's
my
like, "Give me the seat,
gosh.
give me the seat."
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
Th-
what?
that is such a big factor of this movie of these pricks thinking they're better than
Exactly.
anyone who's quote unquote below them on the totem pole or in social status. Like they genuinely see anyone below them in social status as like subhuman, and I think that is such a real thing and just so despicable. So yeah, when he went flying out the side of the plane, I was having a great time. I was like, I love this movie.
Yeah, and oh my god, the humor too of like you think he's dead, and then you hear the
Yeah,
thump thump thump, and then she looks out the window and she just he's just held on by the tie and he's still alive, but he's just hitting the
yeah,
plane repeatedly, and she just closes the window, the little
yes,
blind. Oh
yes,
man.
yeah. That was hilarious when she closes the blind, and he does establish a little bit of Linda's like metal. Like
Yeah.
she's not just like she doesn't even in that sequence. She's not really like a stereotypical female character. Let's say in like an '80s movie that or where they're just kind of like screaming their head off and just not doing anything. She's very like
Yeah, she stabs
practical
him, right?
and oh she
Yeah.
forks are flying by. She grabs one and she stabs him to get him to let go because he's gonna yank her out of the chair. Yeah, and so she kind of establishes her as being a survivor, but also kind of being willing to kill someone else. Uh, but
Yeah.
I think it was deserved.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that is a good place to start with spoilers. It's funny. I think the spoilers are pretty much going to be all the bloody scenes that we didn't.
Yeah, didn't want to like give away any of this stuff for
Yeah,
because it's very I feel like it's just very enjoyable to see it for the first time in the theater without any spoilers.
definitely. And but then the bore
Yeah,
happens.
and even before the board, I wanted to say
Okay,
one
yeah,
more
yeah.
thing that I appreciated with Dylan O'Brien. Him being such an asshole at the beginning, and then she just leaves, and he's
Mm.
sitting there, and we have this sequence of the camera, like panning across his face, and he's angry and he's pissed off, and then eventually he's like like desperate. He's like pathetic. He's like he can't survive. He can't move because his leg is fucked up when they land or whatever. So he can't walk. So he's just like he knows that he has to rely on her just to survive. And I thought he did a really good job. And I really enjoyed the way that they used the repetition of the with the camera like panning across and then the fades back to the beginning and we see the time passing. I thought
Yeah,
that was
I
very well executed and
agree.
showed his character like breaking and having that change of like, all right, I guess I got to deal with this lady who apparently smells bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really awesome scene. Um,
But yeah, so then there's a lot of survival stuff, and then yeah, the boar scene happens pretty soon after that. It's probably like maybe 45 minutes into the movie, something like that.
yeah. And it probably wouldn't have even been a huge spoiler, but the fight is pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely insane. This was the one. So the movie is very over the top, and I appreciated it and loved it for the most part. This was the one scene that went a little too far for me, to where it was like not really enjoyable at all. But I would rather a movie like take a lot of chances, and even if it goes too far for me in a certain scene, the rest it pays off in the rest of the movie. And when you're kind of pushing the boundaries like that and being like kind of insane, occasionally maybe you're gonna step on toes, but that's okay. If most of the movie is like I keep saying bold, I feel like bold is like the best way to describe the movie. And I just appreciate that, even if at once in a while it's like, oh, I stepped on my toes, but that's okay. I'm enjoying the rest of the movie. But yeah, she is hunting down a boar, and there's a lot of blood, and
And
he's the boar
snot.
is coming at her. Yes, and he comes at her and she stabs it again, and the blood is spraying all over her. And yeah, and the CGI boar is not the best.
Right. This is kind of my biggest. I agree with you in terms of this scene being probably the weakest part of the movie for me. Well, I guess that's not what you said, but that's kind of maybe my takeaway.
Maybe the least enjoyable scene for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the CGI board just kind of um I don't know. I know practical effects can be a lot more expensive, but I mean he does
Oh,
awesome stuff with effects in his early work. So I think it would have been cool to see a more like it doesn't have to, I don't know, whatever. It would have been
yeah.
it just looked a little off.
Yeah, I get that. And it would be tough to make a practical, not real, or I guess you could maybe use a real boar for just a few shots. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see your point. Practical effects could have been better. The CGI wasn't great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they didn't use a real boar, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, totally. Yeah, actually just slaughter a boar.
Just,
You get
yeah,
one try.
yeah. One
No,
take
but
only.
and again, like I mean, I don't know. I guess like CGI can totally work too, but it you could tell like something looked
Yeah.
off about it the whole time, pretty much. And
Yeah, the movement of the boar was very it was off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, I know my boar, you know.
And and I feel like the way it was almost like its face was like gesticulating, is that the right word? Like it was making these faces of like anger and like aggression, whereas I feel like a boar would probably be more like less expressive than this CGI boar, you know?
Mhm.
I think feel like they cranked it up a little bit to make it scarier, like make it a little bit faster, make it a little more scary looking. Um, which whatever. But yeah, I agree that this was not the best scene.
What I did love about this scene though is when she just drops the boar head and another moment of the two of their acting really carrying it. She just drops it right in front of him and blood splatters onto him and his face and his just like this is not the paralactic moment that I was talking about earlier, obviously.
No.
But
Oh my
that
gosh.
that facial expression was just like pure uh pure gold to me. I was like that just and then it shows you her again and she's like I killed it, you know, and she's like really excited and I guess she was a little tired, but you could tell the dynamic was so much different already.
Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of asserting like I don't fuck with me. You know?
I will stab your eyeball out.
Yeah. Yeah. So then there's I don't know, he's kind of slowly getting better and they're kind of growing closer. I also there's well, I guess there's a scene where they talk and they talk about his parents being neglectful of him and how he became the way he is and sort of having some level of self reflection, self-awareness to some degree, I guess. Which it does come into play, I think. Like they talk about whatever she says, sort of the saying where it's like monsters are created, they're not born. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
always circumstances that make people um these awful horrific douchebags like this Bradley character. Um and I think kind of an interesting part of the movie, which we're in spoiler section, so I can just say now, but it really applies to her also,
Yeah.
to where like, and this movie, like obviously Castaway is like the first movie you think of, but I feel like it's also kind of like a fucked up sibling or a fucked up offspring of Taxi Driver,
Mm.
where it's this character who's an outcast from society and like very lonely. I feel like being lonely is the main, and I think that's why Linda doesn't want to leave the island because now, well, finally she's not at the bottom of the totem pole getting shit on and like marginalized in society. And also now she is with someone besides her bird. Like I think that loneliness and then also her being sort of outcast from society is the reason why else would someone never want to go back to society because it's so bad for her basically. She's so miserable. So ultimately that's why she goes to the lengths that she goes to in this movie and does crazy shit by the end of the movie. But also she's also a product of like society in some ways and being that kind of an outcast, I think. And the way that he has treated her and the way other coworkers treat her, like that causes her to sort of become a monster, basically, like they say.
Yeah. And
So I
in
thought
that,
that was the main thematic takeaway from the movie for me.
yeah. Well, and another thing about that section that gives me kind of a different theme to take away too was she reveals that she uh gave her husband keys when he was like super trashed and he was like super abusive and he died, right? And there's this whole back and forth between the two characters on the island that I think can be read as like an abusive power struggle or an abusive relationship and like trying to that not necessarily power struggle, but just trying to like always there's like manipulation and all this stuff happening and coming out of that, right? And then uh she kind of I don't want to say that like leading the person off of the cliff later on in the movie was analogous to the giving the guy the keys, but maybe, right? I
Well,
mean,
that's what I thought too. And then at the end, it's shown that she throws a rock on them and actually with her own hands does it.
right.
The husband thing is more like he was being an asshole and she's like, I don't care, I'm not protecting you anymore. And then he died. It's kind of like, is that really her? Like she didn't murder him, but she murders people at the end of the movie.
Mm, yeah. But I did think that there was some interesting, I think you can read this as like kind of a an abusive or at least a very uh very problematic relationship, right? If you
Well,
take
yeah,
these two characters um as being like, in a relationship, but obviously
yeah.
not. But
Well, it is a type of a relationship. It's not a romantic
true.
relationship, but yeah, and for some reason, at least in America, bosses being like abusive assholes and scumbags is like considered normal. And it's like,
Mm.
well, it's your boss. He's gonna be an asshole or whatever. And it's like, but if they landed and he wasn't such a prick, realistically, would any of this stuff have happened? Maybe she still would have been kind of crazy and not wanted them to leave. But like, if he had, or not even just when they land, but if he had just been a civilized human beforehand and like, you know, a lot of things would have been avoided.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like it's also this cycle, right? Where
Yeah.
like he poisons her with the poison berries. And then she poisons him with the octopus, I guess, and
Yeah.
like pretends to castrate him, right? And that was a crazy scene.
Oh my gosh, that scene was incredible. That's an incredible scene that you just need to see in a theater. I feel like everyone in the
Yeah.
theater was like wriggling in their seat, like, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And but the whole I think like that dynamic where there's like the he poisons her, she poisons him is like
Yeah.
actually very I think it's repeated a lot throughout the movie and I think it can be kind of a takeaway here of like um uh a type of manipulative relationship where both people are actually just continuously one upping the bad of the other person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, it just keeps escalating basically throughout the movie. So yeah,
Right.
that makes That makes
Well,
sense.
and then at the end, like also at the very, very end, like she ends up kind of in like a position like he was in, um, literally playing golf, right? Like,
Yes. So we're in full spoilers.
yeah, yeah,
We can talk about the ending of the movie. Do you think
yeah.
the ending is real?
It seemed odd, right? I mean,
I think it's a dream.
it did feel dreamy. I also don't think it adds up because it's like I forget the time difference they were saying, but
It was a year
a
later.
year later, and it
And
just
then
yeah,
oh,
it felt like a
also her
big thing.
yeah, her also her hair was like ripped out, her eye was all fucked up, and none of that seemed to be a factor in the sequence. And then she's driving in the convertible with the bird. Is the bird surviving after these weeks alone? Like, is there anyone to get into her apartment to feed the bird? Is bird's probably dead.
Right. And then also
And
nobody knew about the fiance or uh fisherman, I guess, or whatever, the boat driver.
yeah,
Uh
right. They never like mentioned that. And she breaks the fourth wall in the very last shot of the
yeah.
movie. And not to mention it's so bright and everything. And this is another connection with Taxi Driver, with the very end scene and the
Mm.
denouement of Taxi Driver, which is often interpreted as a dream. I feel like this movie is like Castaway and Taxi Driver had like a crack baby, and that's Send Help.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that as being a dream. I when my takeaway of that last scene was I kind of didn't like it. And
Interesting.
I think part of it didn't feel real, and maybe that's why though. Maybe it's not supposed to. But like I was like, it doesn't really feel like it adds up. You know, again, like the bird's alive. Nobody cares about the fiance shouldn't have been on the plane, so nobody's like looking for her, like trying to
Yeah.
Um, and then also yeah, like she was totally fine all of a sudden after that awesome fight, by the way, that we should definitely talk more about.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'm like, I don't know, like I think my takeaway at the end was, and again, like she's kind of now in the position that Bradley was kind of in at the beginning, where now she's literally playing golf. It has this fancy car, is like a CEO or whatever, probably. And I think, yeah, she got his job or something, right? So, um, and
Yeah.
it's like
Which
it just felt weird and I didn't really like it, but maybe that's because it's supposed to feel weird and is actually a dream. I would like that a lot more. So
there we go. Yeah, that's how I interpret it. Like right away, it was so like the smash cut when she tees off on his skull, I think, and then it smash like match cuts to her teeing off at playing golf. Like it was such a shock that it kind of threw me for a loop. But yeah, it was so bright and over the top. Like it was yeah, it just felt very dreamy. And I had the Taxi Driver connection. I don't know if what it is with Taxi Driver. I feel like there are a lot of movies I watch and I'm like, I feel like this movie is secretly like kind of just Taxi Driver.
well, I mean, it's so influential, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think like a lot of movies want to be like Taxi Driver one way or another,
Hmm.
right? Whether that's conscious or not, right? I think a lot of
Joker, we're
filmmakers
talking about you, Joker.
I think a lot of filmmakers are just heavily influenced, whether they mean to be or not, when they're making the movie, um, because it's like when you're thinking about a kind of character descent like that, right? It's
Yes. Okay. And it's like the one of the most influential movies about like loneliness. And I feel
right.
like loneliness being a core aspect of Linda Little's character is like another connection. And Linda Little, Travis Bickle, it rhymes.
Mm. Hey, that's cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I like this. Um, but yeah, I mean, I actually didn't even think of the taxi driver connection until you're bringing it up. But I like it. The rhyming piece is funny. Um,
There we go.
huh.
All right. Oh, another scene. We have to talk about it. I thought this was one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I thought it was amazing. After she gets poisoned with the berries, and I forget exactly what happens, but she pukes all over his face like 5 times,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's just
he
puking on his face over and over. Oh, I love that.
yeah, but she's saving him too in the moment, right? Like he poisons
Right,
her, tries to flee on the raft, which is one of those little pieces of hidden
right.
information that the movie does really well at not really telling us much about. And
He's been secretly making a really terrible raft for his really stupid plan.
terrible plan. But yeah, and the raft crashes, obviously. He also uses the raft at the absolute worst possible time. It's like
Yeah,
there's never been waves that big since they've been on the island. And he decides that's the time whatever. But um, yeah, and then but he would probably have died, but she goes out and saves him again, and is
Yep.
projectile vomiting the yellow on his face while she does that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Hilarious. But yeah, and then I think it also, I really enjoyed that whole sequence of beforehand where there's sort of the romantic sexual tension between the two of them. And he's like bathing in the, oh, you see that Daniel O butt, that Daniel O ass. And but she sees him over the rocks and she's like, oh, he's naked, oh my gosh. So it's like, and they're like huddling for warmth in the cave. And he makes dinner for her. She's like, and she's so lonely that this is really like her weakness that he's exploiting. But
right.
when you're watching it, you're really kind of like, is this genuine? Like, what's going on? They've been here for weeks. Like, is what, you don't know if it's genuine or not, and then it's shown to be just manipulation. But yeah, I enjoyed that whole sequence, and I just really enjoyed him getting puked on. I thought that was very funny,
Yeah.
very enjoyable.
Um, then there's the whole island piece where there's that X on the island. Um,
Yeah, when they appear, yeah.
yeah, and
And we should mention it toward the beginning, there Linda sees a boat and chooses not to uh she like hides so
right.
that they're not found. So this is the second boat, and it turns out to be his fiance.
And also towards the beginning, she tells Dylan O'Brien, she says, "Hey, see that X over there? Don't go past it or
Yes,
something. There's it'll kill you in a minute or something, right? Something
because
outrageous."
there's a lot of poisonous stuff over there. It's really dangerous. Don't go over there because that's where she saw the boat at the
Right.
beginning, and then toward the end we realize, I guess we're in spoilers. That's where there's a house.
Yeah.
There's like a fucking fancy mansion and house, and they have bottled water in the fridge. There's refrigeration and fruits.
Yeah. Um.
And that's where she got the knife. It didn't just wash up on the shore.
Yeah.
Very
Uh.
good reveal. Did not see that coming.
Oh,
Like, love the
interesting.
twists and turns there. Did you see it coming?
I was gonna ask if you did because
Oh.
I totally I once she said don't go past that
Mm.
and we had already seen her like hiding away from the boat. I was like, that boat wasn't just out there. Like that boat's going somewhere. There's got to be something right there with people on it. Like, I didn't know
So
exactly what
my
was going on, but I was like, if I was this Dylan guy, I'd be really suspicious. I'd be like, I mean, my leg's broken, so I can't really go over there, but I
yeah,
would want to.
interesting. I didn't think about that just because my assumption was that it was like a fishing boat or something.
Mm,
And so it kind of just looked like it was passing by. And then, because when we first see it, it didn't look like it was coming like into that little cove or the bay or whatever. Like, kind of, that was how I saw it.
mm,
And because I just thought she was like, oh, maybe there's like boats on that side, so keep him away so he doesn't know there's any boats. That was
yeah,
all I thought. And I thought that was enough explanation that I didn't keep questioning it. I was kind of just like, that's her explanation. So I didn't expect there to be, but it all makes sense. Like,
yeah,
why is there like this nice clean knife it's not like rusty that would wash up on the ocean? It doesn't really make any sense. But but yeah.
yeah. So I would say I was a little underwhelmed by that reveal because I guess
Mm.
I just like I I knew there was going to be twists, so I guess maybe I was looking too hard for it too or something. But but not that it was like not that it was bad. I thought it was a good plot point, and I liked that. Um, but I did maybe feel like I guess I felt like I predicted it too easily, which doesn't mean I like at first I was like maybe that was a little too predictable, but maybe it's not that it was too predictable, and I was just maybe just looking too much for it or something. I don't know, whatever. But
No, that's all right. I get that. That it's not as shocking of a reveal if you're expecting something like that.
right.
So that makes sense. That would be a different experience for you. Yeah, I just feel like whenever I watch movies, I usually am not like trying to figure out the twists and turns or like where the plot's going. I'm usually just kind of along for the ride. And I feel like there was enough other things for me to be thinking about that I wasn't necessarily thinking
Mm.
about like trying to figure out where we're going in the third act kind of a thing.
See, I feel like because they were both trying to hide information from each other, so I was like, I want to know what information. Like, I was like, I want to know. Like, but I did,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I'm just kind of like strap in for the ride and you take me where you take me, man. I'll get
yeah,
there when I get there.
yeah. Um, but also, before they get to that house, even um, there's a giant fight. Well, I guess before there's the fight between them, yeah. So, well, we already talked. I guess she like sees the fiance and uh, kills the two of them.
Yeah, the fiance and the boat like driver that is helping because apparently they didn't find them. They called off the search and then so that's what I thought because when they she mentions the search, I go, "Oh, maybe that boat was a search party and maybe that and that's why there's no more boats because they that was a search party. They didn't find them. Now they're gone." So that also lended to my not suspecting
Hmm.
the house twist. Um, but yeah, his fiance, and then she murders them. Yeah, murders them on the cliff. As soon as we zoom out, the very beginning of the movie, we see the island, and we zoom out and we see the whole thing. That giant fucking cliff. I was like, someone's fallen off that. That is going to be a big part of the movie. I knew that. As
Yeah.
soon as I saw that cliff, I was like, that's not there by accident, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and the X, like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's there. Um, but yeah, and then her hand just like I was
yeah.
confused on how that happened, but I guess it was just buried all of a sudden.
I agree. That was the weird part where I was like, what? How did she end up like buried except for her hand is sticking out of the sand? I didn't really understand that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that was confusing. But either way, you know what was cool in this moment though was I thought that Rachel McAdams' character being so haunted by that action and
Yeah.
the moments where like she just lays in the water at one point
And she's
and
laying in bed. She's depressed.
yeah, and she takes a sick day. That was funny. But
Yeah.
those moments that felt just so great. I think she just did really well at that tonal shift for her character.
Yeah. Well, that was very well executed. Yeah. And I really liked like her character does so many horrible things, but I feel like the movie never like kind of the thing about her being a monster. Like she does monstrous things, but there you still have empathy for her in certain ways where this is a human being. And in that way, same with Dylan O'Brien's character, where this guy is a fucking asshole. You like hate this guy in a lot of ways, but also this is still a human being, and there's still mm, three dimensions to both characters, even though they both do absolutely horrific stuff. And I thought they did a good job. Like sometimes movies have characters that are like real assholes and it feels like the movie's not aware of it or they're trying to excuse it or like celebrate it sometimes. And I feel like this movie does not do that at all, but it's kind of just showing all these different dimensions of the characters, including them being absolutely insane and being scumbags, but also all these other aspects of them as so I thought they were very well, it's good. If you have mainly just two characters in your movie, they should probably be good three-dimensional characters. Otherwise, the movie's not going to be very interesting. So they did a good job with that.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think that is a huge just applause to both those characters and also the writing for them because it was just really
Yes.
impressive that a two-person show can be really hard to do and these two really pulled it off.
Yes. And I wanted to say the writers of the movie, it was co-written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, who seem like they're a co-screenwriting duo. And the only other credits I see, I'm on Letterboxd right now, so maybe they have TV credits that are not here. But they wrote Freddy versus Jason and the 2009 Friday the 13th remake, and they wrote the Baywatch movie from like I guess 2017 with The Rock and Zac Efron and uh, Alexandra Daddario's in it. So yeah, they don't have like a super uh impressive like history of writing movie like Freddy vs. Jason and Friday the 13th remake, not the most well-written movies. But I feel
Wow.
like this movie is like really impressive, really well written. Like there's depth in the characters and like in the themes of everything. So I was really impressed with the writing. So hopefully and also like those are all like very big studio productions. So who knows how much of their writing was impacted by rewrites or studio changes and stuff like that. So when you people are working in Hollywood, you never know how like there's a lot of hands getting dipping in the bucket. And this one I imagine was a lot more of an independent production where they was probably stuck to their script a lot better. So shout out to them for writing this really great movie. Hopefully they've got some more like really good movies in in their arsenal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. From Googling, it looks like there's a movie called um the the Good, Bad, and Undead. That good oh no, Good, Bad, and Undead, not the Good, Bad, and Undead. Which doesn't seem to be out yet, perhaps. Oh, it says 2024.
Hmm,
I don't know. But anyway, so
I don't know.
they're definitely going to be active, I think.
Cool.
This
But yeah,
hopefully helps them, yeah, like you were saying, kind of get out of that. Maybe there was too much control from other people, or maybe they were also just learning and becoming better at their thing too. But
yeah, that's true. Good point. I mean, they're the only two credited writers on the Friday the 13th remake. And then for Freddy versus Jason, it looks like they're also the two credited writers. But still, even, I don't know. Sometimes, like some of these movies, like these big, like superhero movies and stuff, things with huge budgets, they'll have maybe there's two credited writers, maybe there's four credited writers, but there could have been a ton of rewrites. There could have been
right.
10, 12 people that like make little changes and who knows. So,
Yeah.
don't.
And sometimes producers will have a lot more control over like what
Yeah.
actually, you know, that writing actually looks like and stuff. So
Yeah.
um
But
but yeah,
anyway,
I mean they
shout out
did
to them
really
for,
well here.
yeah, yeah. It's really, I feel like every aspect of the movie, yeah, the special effects are really the only, and there is a good amount of like practical effect. I don't know if they're like the puke seemed, it was either practical or it was very, very believable. I feel like it was well done. Uh, but some of the CGI is probably the weakest part of the movie. But yeah, overall, I think it's really well constructed and just a solid movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that fight scene was awesome. They're like
Yeah, the fight.
going at each other. Oh my god, he's gouging. I've never seen a
Oh
eye
yeah.
gouge scene
Ugh.
so horrific before.
That was insane. Yeah, there was some kind of a crazy effect for that. I don't know if that was CGI or not, but her eye looked, it looked like he was gonna rip her eye out.
Yeah.
It
Oh
was
man.
crazy. Yeah.
Um
They do not hold back on any of the gore or anything in this movie. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. And
But
he
it's kind of fun. Like you're kind of squirmy, you're like, oh my God. And
yeah.
same with the balls one. You think she's cutting off this guy's balls. You're like, oh my gosh, this is insane. But you're also kind of like, I don't know, you kind of deserved it, bro. You tried to poison her, like, but also he didn't. I mean, still, you're kind of like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, Phew.
Yeah, but that fight scene and he rips off
Yes.
part of her hair and oh my god, it was
Oh
just
yeah,
and it was again just back and forth. They were just like totally just visceral and oh my
yeah,
god, it was rough.
yeah. And I enjoyed like they're fighting in the woods, and then if he finds the house, and we kind of get the explanation of things over the loudspeaker, which is kind of funny with. But but then the final like showdown where he's again like trying one last time. He's like, "Can I like manipulate her? Like she is this lonely person. Can I just be like, I love you. Let's stay on this island together forever." Like he's trying. This is his last like chance to try to manipulate her and survive. But I enjoyed that, and then yeah, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, I mean again, it's just always they're just always manipulating each other,
Yeah.
and especially him. I mean more him than her, but
Hmm.
there is definitely both a lot.
Yeah, because I get the idea that if, even though he was such a scumbag, if when they had landed on this island, if he had been like, "Oh my gosh, how long was I out?" And she's like, "Oh, you've been out for this long, but like here's some water. I'm doing this." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And
Right, yeah.
he was just normal and like, "Oh wow, thank you for doing that. Like I appreciate that." Like, and he was just a normal person. I think she would have been like fine with it. I
Right.
maybe if she saw a boat, she still would be like, ooh, like it's kind of nice here. I'm not on the bottom of the totem pole. I get treated with respect and stuff like that. So maybe she wouldn't want to leave. But yeah, he's definitely just such a scumbag. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if he was not such a scumbag, this movie would be a lot different probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it made it a lot more interesting. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
like one character is it's not like a slasher movie where it's just one emotionless killer hunting down these someone else.
Right.
It's a lot more complicated. So yeah, found it very enjoyable. We talked about the final scene, and yeah, that's the movie. And one way or another plays, which is like her favorite karaoke song. But
That was
one
funny.
way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That is kind of a scary karaoke song. Now that we have the context of the whole movie, yeah.
Uh, um, yeah, yeah, it was pretty awesome. I think you're onto something with that ending scene too. That makes a lot more sense. Makes me understand why. Because I think when I watched that final scene, I just kind of, like I said, I just kind of didn't like it, and I couldn't really put my
Right.
finger on, how exactly it was trying to make me feel. But that makes sense if it is a dream. Um, yeah,
Yeah. That's how I interpret it. So, yeah, this movie is the weird crack baby of Castaway and Taxi Driver. Put it on the poster, Sam Raimi. Um, I don't know that I have much else to say. I mean, we talked about most of the craziest scenes. Um, yeah, I super enjoyable movie.
yeah. I think that's pretty much it then. The only other thing is that next week we have
Yeah.
our next full episode, and we're gonna be talking about movies over $100 million budget. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we took some time to think about them, and we came up with our decision. Um, I've
Yes.
picked Christopher Nolan's Tenet, which should be good. I've never seen it, so I'm excited to you know uh, finish off some of my Nolan stuff. And I kind of intentionally never went out of my way to see it, but I've got to at some
Now's the
point,
time.
and here it is.
Now is the time. And yeah, Tenet, this will be a very interesting episode because we've got Tenet, and then I picked the Wachowskis' Speed Racer. These are two of the most insane big budget, just swinging for the fences, just Barry Bonds 2004, juice to the gills, huge swings. And do they strike out or not? We're gonna find out.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are actually, well, these are both movies I've seen one time, and I've kind of wanted to rewatch both of them, so this kind of worked out perfectly. So yeah, that's our episode next week, and then afterwards we'll have another episode, but we'll figure that out. So yeah, follow us on YouTube and Letterboxd. Mind Your Movies, all one word on Letterboxd, and from there we both of our individual profiles are linked, so you can follow us and stalk what we watch on our diary. And yeah, we're on YouTube, we're on the podcast apps, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and we also have an Instagram. I think it's Mind Your Movies Podcast. We don't even really post on it anymore, but you can follow it if you want to. Yeah, so that's that. Uh, don't forget to send help and watch. Wait, and mind your movies. I was gonna say watch your movies. No, mind your movies and watch them.